And the best 4K Blu-ray release of 2022 is, well, you'll just have to wait to the end of this video because I've got 22 of my favourite 4K Blu-rays from last year to show you, so let's get straight into it. At number 22, we have Jordan Peele's latest, Nope. This is a brilliant blend of Western and science fiction genre filmmaking, and on the 4K disc it looks and sounds brilliant. A portion of this film is set at night, and in darker sequences, the 4K disc can really make those darker colours really solid and not pixelated, and it makes the black colours look properly black and not a very dark grey. So this is a great presentation of a very interesting modern genre film. Number 21 on this list is The Witch from Robert Eggers. This was his feature film debut movie from a few years ago. This is the 4K release from Second Sight Films. Now they did a limited edition box of this. I didn't manage to pick that up, but here I have the standard edition and it looked great. You're probably thinking you already have The Witch on 4K that was released a few years ago, but this has a new HDR grade approved by Robert Eggers because he didn't like how the last one looked, and many people think that this is the superior version. So that's why it's on this list. Number 20 is Dog Soldiers. This is another Second Sight Films 4K release. This is the limited edition, and this is an amazing film. It's a brilliant part of British filmmaking history. It's a great film about these soldiers who get trapped amongst this forest in isolation, and there's something strange going on. People are turning into, well, giant dogs, as is suggested. A great presentation on the 4K disc, brilliant sound and picture quality, and a whole host of brilliant special features. So I highly recommend this one. At number 19, we have The Driver. I was overjoyed when Walter Hill's classic movie got announced getting a 4K release from Studio Canal, and it looks superb. For me, this is an iconic film from the 1970s, which did go on to heavily inspire a more modern film, which may appear later on this list, spoilers. But if you're not familiar with this movie, it's so much fun, a great story, and on the 4K disc there are some brand new special features with filmmaker Walter Hill, which are very enlightening, so highly recommended. At number 18, I have The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari from Eureka Entertainment, Masters of Cinema here in the UK. This is a brilliant 4K release of one of the most oldest and iconic horror movies of all time. Hugely inspirational for many modern filmmakers, and it's a real testament to how well this stands up being over 100 years old. It's a fantastic addition from Eureka, who entered the 4K game for the first time in 2022. It's packed full of special features on the disc. And you may be asking, how good can a film this old look on a 4K disc? Well, it is vastly improved from the older versions. The new restoration has cleaned up the print. There's still dirt and scratches there, but there's a lot less than there were before. And it just looks and sounds amazing. So I'm very happy that we got this release last year. At 17 on my list, I have The Trial, the Orson Welles film, which got a fantastic 4K disc last year. This is another one from Studio Canal, and this is a film that is quite impenetrable at times. It's based on the Franz Kafka book, which many people said was unadaptable, but Orson Welles gave it a real shot with Anthony Perkins in the lead role, who I think does an amazing job of playing this guy who has been accused of a crime, but he doesn't know what that crime is, and he's just trying to find out answers. A very mysterious, enigmatic story that looks amazing on the 4K disc, and there's some great special features on here as well. At number 16, we have Dune from Denis Villeneuve. This was a release from last year. It was a very, very early one in January, but this started the year off very well indeed. This is a modern film which really pushes the sound and visuals on a 4K disc, and I think it looks and sounds amazing. One of my favourite modern science fiction films, and I cannot wait for part 2. Number 15 is Casablanca, a film as iconic as Hollywood itself. And this film looks crazy good on this 4K disc. If this had been any other year in the past, this would have been a top 5 disc for sure. But 2022 had so many good releases that it really is getting hard to narrow them down. So I wholeheartedly recommend anyone who loves this film or who just wants such a big part of Hollywood cinema history in their collection, definitely get the Casablanca 4K disc. Black and white films can look amazing on 4K, and there's going to be a few more on this list. Number 14 is the movie Get Carter, starring Michael Caine, an iconic British film. This is from the BFI, and they entered the 4K game in 2022 as well, and they have done a phenomenal job. This is a comprehensive package for this movie, and I have to say that the film looks absolutely amazing on the new 4K restoration from the BFI. This is the limited edition. It's full of extra stuff. There's a booklet in here and a poster, tons of special features on the disc. There's a new introduction by Michael Caine. So yeah, fantastic release. I was overjoyed by this one. Number 13 is The Batman. This was one of the biggest films of last year. So many people saw it and were talking about it. We weren't sure whether it was going to be a good film before it came out, but we were pleasantly surprised that, in my opinion, and could be controversial, this is the best Batman movie. As far as the 4K disc goes, it is amazing. A lot of this film is set at night time and it's very, very dark. And for reasons, as I mentioned before, on a 4K disc, this is very important because the 4K technology can really allow for greater contrast levels. The high dynamic range can really push those blacks low, but also push those brighter tones higher. So it just looks amazing, and it's, you know, a perfect viewing experience at home on the 4K disc. Number 12 is Raging Bull from Martin Scorsese. This is a Criterion Collection 4K release. They had their full first year of 4K releases last year, and they did a great job. This film looks amazing, and it's another black and white movie, and I really think that black and white films gain the most from these 4K restorations on the discs. I won't repeat myself too much, but it is those black levels, those shadows that just look absolutely pristine on a 4K disc. So I was very happy with this one. And at number 11, we have Singing in the Rain. This is one of my all-time favorites, and I was so happy when this got announced on the 4K disc. I can't believe that this is actually this low on this list. Again, it just shows how many great releases we had last year. This is a very colourful film, and the colours are so vibrant and really pop on the 4K disc. The sound and the music is so important in this film as well, and it just sounds the best it ever has. So overall, very, very happy with the 4K presentation of this movie. We now move into the top 10. And at number 10, we have Pulp Fiction, the Quentin Tarantino movie that really shook up cinema when it was released back in 1994. This looks amazing on the 4K disc. Very, very happy with the presentation here. It's quite a colourful film, and the colours really do look great on this. A side note on this one, this, as you can see, is the steelbook design, and I don't actually collect steelbooks anymore, but I had to buy this one because when I went to HMV to pick up my copy, they had completely sold out of the normal 4K edition. But I'm just very happy to actually own the disc because it is a great edition. At number 9, it's Reservoir Dogs, another Tarantino movie, another steelbook as well, because funnily enough, this film hasn't even been released here in a non-steelbook edition, so I had to get this copy. Again, another brilliant presentation on the 4K disc. I'm so surprised at how much they actually squeezed out of this to get on the 4K disc. It looks better than I thought it was going to. For that reason, it edges out Pulp Fiction by one place, even though I actually prefer Pulp Fiction as a movie to Reservoir Dogs. Still a great, fun, enjoyable movie that looks and sounds great on this disc, so buy it with confidence. Number 8 is Double Indemnity, another Criterion Collection disc, which is one of my favourite films of all time. I recently did a top 10 Criterion releases of 2022, so if you want, go and check out that video for some great Criterion recommendations. But this is one of the most iconic film noir movies. Even if you're not into the Criterion Collection, this is a film to definitely own. I think it's such an important part of Hollywood cinema and film noir, like I mentioned, and a hugely influential movie on modern filmmakers. I absolutely love this edition, and it looks and sounds perfect. At number 7 is The Proposition. This is a modern western set in Australia, and this is the 4K release from the BFI here in the UK. And this blew me away when I reviewed it on the channel last year. It's so good. I'm imploring everyone who loves a good modern western movie, which is quite brutal at times, to definitely check this out. This is the definitive edition of this movie. It has so many special features, and it just looks and sounds perfect. I know I'm repeating myself with that on most of these discs, but honestly, I'm blown away with how far we have come with this format. Many discs now are hits rather than misses, and I'm so glad for that fact. This is a great disc, a great release. Definitely check it out if it sounds like your kind of thing. At number 6, this is a big movie. I know many people loved this year. Top Gun Maverick on the 4K disc. I was blown away by this movie, and in particular blown away by how it looks on this 4K disc. This is easily one of those discs you can have to show off your system, to show what a 4K disc really can pack in there. The film itself is so fun, entertaining, exhilarating, but also surprisingly very touching at moments. I didn't think I was going to cry watching Top Gun Maverick, but I certainly did. So now we move into the top 5 4K releases of 2022. And all 5 of these are absolutely my favourites of the year. Number 5, I mean, this is a very controversial choice, but hear me out. The Matrix Resurrections. Now, this film is hated by many people. I've seen so many negative reviews. Many of my friends have said how much they hated this movie. And I get it. I get all of those opinions. For whatever reason, I absolutely love this film. And this is not just about the film, by the way, because this presentation on the 4K disc for a modern movie, this is absolutely reference quality. It's probably going to annoy many people, those people that hate the movie, that this is one of the best looking films on 4K released last year. So if you can find in yourself to enjoy this movie, then definitely check this out on the 4K disc. Number 4 is a film that I know was responsible for getting many people hooked on cinema, in my generation particularly. It's the movie Drive. This is the absolute monster of a release from Second Sight Films here in the UK. This is the limited edition, so I don't think you're going to be able to get your hands on this. I think it's long out of print. But they do a standard edition of just the disc without all the extra stuff. But within this package, if you did get the limited edition, there's tons of extra material in the books. And there's a lot of stuff on the disc as well. There's a new commentary and some other discussions with the filmmakers on the disc. Music and sound is so important to this film, and I think they did it perfectly on this 4K disc. The picture itself as well is the best it has ever looked. So if you're a fan of this movie, then you need to get the disc from Second Sight Films. Number 3 on my top 4K discs of 2022 goes to the Police Story Trilogy from Eureka Entertainment here in the UK. I reviewed this on the channel when it came out, so do go and check out that video if you want to know more about this in detail. But I thought the presentation of these movies on these discs was absolutely exemplary. They look amazing and sound amazing. Jackie Chan and his castmates really got into a lot of serious injuries doing the stunts on these movies. So to actually see all of that hard work and literal blood, sweat and tears shown on 4K in brilliant quality, and the colours are popping and the HDR grade looks amazing and sounds absolutely beautiful. It's a dream for me to have this on 4K. I also have to give a shout out to Eureka for the presentation of this box set. It's just a really nice item to have in my collection. I love the artwork on the front here. The discs are great and there's a booklet inside as well. So I was very happy to add this to my collection last year. So we arrive at number 2. This next release is probably one of the biggest 4K releases ever on the format. It was so incredibly popular when it came out. Huge news for the format and for these films. I'm of course talking about the Godfather Trilogy. The restoration on this 4K set for all of the films is so well done. You can tell how much hard work went into preparing this release, and the hard work is all there in the final product. It looks absolutely amazing, and any other year, any other time, this would absolutely have been number 1 on this list. There is just one more release after this that I just loved even more. I think this is an essential 4K release. I can't see many 4K collectors not having this in their collection. It's that good, and this is such an important set of films from modern film history. They're so rewatchable as well, and it's just brilliant storytelling, so visual. The sound and the music is incredible, and it just looks perfect, absolutely perfect. So I can't recommend this release enough. Please seek this one out because I think it is not to be missed. There is only one thing that could have possibly beat the Godfather Trilogy when I was curating this list of top discs, and it is the Alfred Hitchcock Classics Collection Volume 2. This is such a phenomenal set of 4K discs, and the value that you get in this set, even though the set is kind of expensive, it's so well worth it. I've said before that you probably might look at this set, you might look at the list of films from Hitchcock that are in this set, and you might think it doesn't really compare to Volume 1, which had The Birds, Psycho, Vertigo and Rear Window. Yet, I think all of these films are still brilliant movies, and the restoration that has gone on in these films, it does vary between the films, obviously, because they are different films, they were made differently, but some of them are just absolutely the best presentations I have seen on 4K, full stop, ever. You have Saboteur, which is one of Hitchcock's earlier movies from the 40s, a black and white movie, very thrilling and suspenseful. It looks pinpoint accurate on the 4K disc. It really does look great. It's actually only held back by some of the filmmaking techniques of the time. There's one sequence in particular which always stands out to me because it's out of focus, and I don't think it was intended to be out of focus, and that is more evident on the 4K disc, but that's nothing to do with the restoration. That's just how the film was made. However, it is the second film in this set, Shadow of a Doubt, which is the best looking film that I've seen on 4K this year. Again, it's a black and white movie, and for me, this is the best looking black and white movie on a 4K disc. It really has to be seen to be believed. It looks better than absolutely everything else I've seen. Like I've said before in this video, the HDR grade really does help with all of the levels in the image. It just looks absolutely crystal clear. I love the presentation of this movie so much, and it's great that the movie itself is one of Hitchcock's masterpieces that you may not have seen. But that's not all, because then you have the next 3 films, The Trouble with Harry, Marnie, and Family Plot. All of them films made in colour. The HDR grade is superb for the more vibrant colours in all of these movies. And I would say all 3 of those movies are vastly underrated. Hitchcock was experimenting in each one of these movies, with Family Plot being the final movie he made before he passed away. And I think there is so much to be studied in these 3 movies, particularly Marnie, which I rewatched recently in my Hitchcock marathon. Marnie is such a strange, perverted, dark story. There is so much psychological depth to Marnie, which it just really gripped me on this rewatch. And I think that is so underrated. So all of the films in this set look and sound absolutely brilliant, but particularly Shadow of a Doubt is the absolute best that I think I've seen all year, and perhaps ever, on a 4K disc. There's hours of special features on here as well, documentaries and features, etc. So tons to get into. If you can grab this for a great price, and it is on sale at time of recording this video, so I'll include some links in the description below. Absolutely get this. It is well worth the money. There were many other 4K releases that could have made this list from last year. I just didn't get around to a great many of them, and the cost of these discs is quite prohibitive often, so I can only afford so many. So there were many that were probably not included on this list. In particular, Kino Lorber 4Ks. I wish I was able to afford to import all of them because they look amazing, but maybe in the future. If you want to hear more about the 4K movies that are in my collection, then just click the video that's on screen now for some more recommendations. Thanks very much for watching this, and I'll see you soon.